Okay, good day guys. Welcome to today's lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to be talking about the seismic analysis. So we have EQX and EQY. In the previous video, we talked about the wind load in the X direction and in the Y direction. So we have EQX. Let's modify lateral load, and so you tick only the EQX. So you don't need to tick these ones. You don't need them because if you combine two of them together, you can have two different time periods, so it's better for you to use it one by one. So now we have what we call eccentricity ratio. So most codes, especially the Euro code, has assumed it as 5% of it. So we have that. Now you have your time period. You can either use user defined, maybe you've calculated it, or you can use an approximate method, or let the software calculate it for you. Now we have our story range, which is the bottom story starting from the ground floor, which is the foundation, and the top story, which is the roof, is ending at the final floor. Okay, so now we have the country. This is for the national annex. So because in UK we don't have seismic, so we can leave it as Eurocode default. Now the ground acceleration is the peak ground acceleration in your country. So in Nigeria, my country, the peak ground acceleration is 2 meters per second square. So you need to get the ratio divided by the gravity. So 2 meters per second square divided by gravity, which is 10. So we give us 0.2. Now we have the spectrum type. If you come to the Eurocode 8 part 1, you can talk about the spectrum type. So if you reach this, you see we have type 1, which is for magnitude greater than 5.5. Then type 2 is for um, the opposite. So you can decide to choose the spectrum type you want. So in this case, I'll leave it as type 2. So if you leave it as type 1, these parameters will change, and if you come change it back to type 2, these parameters will change. So if you look at your table here, this is for type 1, these are the parameters you want. So for example, I'm using ground B now. So ground type B is the type of soil. If you check the code, it explains the type of soil from the SPT value, the N value that will give you the type of ground. So I know ground B is a very solid ground, so I'll use ground B. Now our S in ground B is 1.2. So let's see what is giving us here. Okay, so it's giving you the soil factor for this is because it's type 2. So let's go to type 1. So you can see it's S factor 1.2. What else again? TB, TC, and TD. So we have 0.15, 0.5, and 2. So 0.15, 0.5, and 2. So you can decide to input these parameters yourself. That's just coming here to others, and you can edit these parameters. But in this case, I won't be editing it. I'll just leave it here and change this to type 2. And so you can check the code for the behavioral factor and correction factor lambda. So we are done with this. So this is for the X direction. Click OK. So let's do the same for the Y direction. Modify it and untick this one, so that because they might have different time period, set this and change this to 0.2. So it's the ratio of acceleration to gravity. Then we use ground B here and we use type 2 here. Okay, so we are done with the lateral load for the wind and for the seismic. In the next video, we are going to be talking about the gravity load. So if you have any question, you can always drop it in the comment section. Thank you very much.